sometimes we'll hear an album 5 years later from an artist and it sounds like the last one. And it's because you weren't making enough fucking music. You have to do this often for you to improve.
My favorite thing Druski's ever done, Meek Mill came out about he wasn't getting money off his music, like from the platforms.
Right.
And Druski quotes the tweet, he's like, man, come to Coulda Been, we'll show you how we're fucking you.
The thing is, like, they all are like Druski sometimes, but they hide it.
Bino Rideau and Blast, what do you think about those two?
I love Blast. When Blast came out, it was like
Yeah.
all the homies was on
For
it,
sure.
You know me?
What are you curious about that others wouldn't expect?
I'd be coochie curious. Nah, I'm just kidding. This is a great interview.
Hey, man, I
They're
appreciate
doing
that.
their thing.
Hey.
I tell you I'm on the road. About to get all this dough. Me and no fuck niggas know. I swear to God we the ghosts. This ain't the story they told. Man, if you know, then you know. I never had to tell my dogs that we on rough for greatness. They paper getters, they want money more than they want fame shit.
Welcome back. Joining us today, we have a very, very special guest, LaRussell, artist, entrepreneur, voice of musicians everywhere. And honestly, like, this is actually an exciting moment because I think you talk about a lot of things that most people don't talk about. And if, like, you just go to your Instagram page, and this is what I talk a lot about with artists, I don't think artists voice their opinion enough about life, about their life, and about the music game in general. Now, you talk a lot about, like, record labels and the deals being bad. What inspired you to, like, want to voice that? Because it's kind of like something people don't talk about. So, like, what pushed you to go do that?
Getting a bad deal.
That works.
I just share my life experiences, and if I got a good deal, I talk about that. But if I get a bad deal, I talk about that as well. If I get treated well, I talk about that. If I get treated poorly, I talk about that too. So I'm just sharing what I experience in life. I'm not like picking specific things to communicate on. It's just like, this is what happened, you know, and then we just share a story. We get in interviews and get the question, and I just answer it transparently.
Could you break down a good deal that a record label would give and a bad deal someone would get? Like, what's the difference between someone getting a good record deal and a bad record deal?
I think the difference is who's on the other end of the deal. No deal is inherently good or bad depending on where you are in your career and what you want. There's some artists who a deal that's bad for me may be great for them because of the situation they're in and they just need to get out of it.
Right.
But for me, a bad deal is any deal that doesn't consider what I want or what's valuable or necessary to me for me to thrive in my career. Or if you ask me what I want and I tell you a bunch of things that I want and you send me something opposite of that, that's a bad deal.
Yeah. Makes a lot. Have you received any backlash from, like, speaking out? Like, have you, like, consciously noticed, like, oh, like, these people don't fuck with me now because, you know, I said this at this one point on this one show?
Not necessarily backlash, but energy shifts for sure. There's some rooms that we go into and the energy isn't the same, which, you know, I don't expect it to be. If you know what you've done and I've said something about what you've done, I don't expect you to smile every time you see me. I know you know. But not necessarily any backlash. You know, it is what it is. I've never dissed anyone. I just speak on what you did.
Right.
So if you have a problem with what you did, then that's your fault, not mine.
No, that's super real. And I think one of the coolest things you do, just like from some of the research I've done, how are you able to throw a concert for $1?
Well, I'm not able to throw it for $1. I'm able to throw it for a bunch of various dollar amounts. So if everyone came and just gave me $1, I'd probably be a bit disappointed. But I know that people take care of me. So some people give me $1, and some people give me $1,000, and some give me $100 and $20 and $30 and $50. So I've opened the range for you to be able to give me a various set of amounts. Yeah, if everyone just gave me $1, I'd probably be like, damn, I wouldn't do a show there again.
I think that is such an incredible thing. So the company is called Good Compenny.
Yep.
Spelled penny,
Yep.
which is, like, you know, a little on it. I like it. I like it. So talk about the company. And then also I'm curious about, like, are record labels, are concert venues like mad at you because you're doing this way? Because you are decentralizing concerts. Whereas like it used to be like, you got to pay this if you want to get in the door. And you've kind of been like, nah, fuck that. Give me $1. I'll get some dollars from here to then open it up to these artists. So kind of go through those two things.
Before you do that, can you actually just explain the structure for people that have zero idea what you mean by like going to your concert for $1? Can you explain the process of how someone might give you $1 and somebody might give you $1,000 to go to your show? Can you just explain like that process?
Yeah, so we created a sliding scale ability. So before I met with my partner Brima, we used to do it all through an Excel spreadsheet, and me and Tieta would have to go through each offer. We basically created a link in our bio for people to go and enter an offer, what they're willing to pay for the show, and we go through and accept or deny and send an email, and they'd have to pay through Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, whatever form. And then eventually I met my partner Brima, and he started a ticketing website called What's TBA, and I came to him and I was like, yo, I have this business model that I'm building. I could really use support. So we end up building a whole site called Offer Base, where now you could just go online, put the amount you're willing to pay. It'll come to me and I can accept or deny. So the process is just like buying a standard ticket. The only difference is I get to choose whether I accept that offer or not.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Got it. So now that you kind of gave that background, what have you heard, seen from like the record labels and concert venues, because you are decentralizing it for these artists? Like what has been that experience, like whether it's positive or negative?
I get a lot of praise. You know, the thing with the labels, record labels are ran by humans, right? The people who work at label are regular humans, and most of them are inspired. Whether they have the power or not to support it and get behind it is different, but they're always inspired, and you know, because it's new. And you know, I've been talking to Live Nation just recently, and they're inspired, and they want to be a part of things that are innovative and new and help build things like this. It just never has happened. So I don't get a lot of people aren't upset I'm doing it, especially because it's like an anomaly. And they know that everyone can do it, but everyone won't do it, right? So it's not hindering their progress or their business, but I think it is important for people to start embracing this new wave, because it is the way. Everyone can't afford to pay $300, $400 to go see someone, and everyone shouldn't have to. I was going to go to a Rod Wave concert one time.
Shout out Rod Wave. Oh my goodness.
I was going to buy like 4 tickets for me and the homies, but the fees attached to the tickets was the same amount as tickets. And it was like, it made me just like not want to go. And it's ruining artists because he doesn't know that's happening. But there's several people, if me in my position is like, I'm not paying that shit. You know, there's people who aren't in that position as me and still want to go see him. And now you have people who can't come see you based on a fee that someone else created. It's not like it's the artist saying, I want people to pay this amount. It's the promoters and the companies that are adding those fees. And sometimes the fees are unexplainable. They have a fee for a fee. You know, like it'll be like this fee and then a fee for that fee. And it's like, how does that make any sense? You know,
it's pretty true. It's almost unfair to the average person, because you look at, like, let's take, for example, Taylor Swift, right? Taylor Swift dropped her tickets, and the biggest, like, fuck you was all these big companies bought all the tickets before any regular Joe could buy them, and they're instantly marked up. So now Taylor put the tickets out there for $150, $200. They're instantly now marked up to $1,000, and Taylor's not even getting that cut.
You know what's crazy? That happens to every major artist. They're doing that. And they're doing that with every single one.
And that's what I say. The way you're kind of doing it is literally decentralizing it, because a Ticketmaster can't be like, oh, I'm going to buy 10,000 $1 tickets.
And
it don't work that way.
We've hindered someone believing that they can access your space just because they have more money than someone else. You know, like if a show, like, we have offers for higher amounts, but if the show sold out because a bunch of people bought it earlier at a lower price, you just can't get it, and you can't buy your way into it. It's either I have to say yes or no. You know, and that's important to kill that sense of hierarchy and allow everyone access.
What inspired you to like go down that path to create, you know, Compenny as like this like pay as you go concert? Like, what inspired you to
being
do that?
Broke? If you ever been broke, then that's all the inspiration you need to change things to make a little bit more sense.
No, 100%. I want to kind of pivot a little bit, because I heard a story that you funded your music career off the salary of being an engineer. Can you?
I wasn't an engineer.
But can you just tell us that story?
Yeah,
I'm just curious on how that was.
So I worked in the aerospace industry, and I started through like a tech, what's it called? A temp agency, and I started on the floor, and I just worked my way up, and I eventually got to the admin side and been able to work like contracts and sales orders and shit like that. And I used all the money I used to make from there to throw my first show. Me and my pops went in together on it. I used my salary, all our first trips to LA, doing shows, marketing, running PR campaigns. Like, it was my salary and just like the homies' contribution. Some of our parents are here, give you some dough to kind of keep going. Like, it was really a community thing, but you have to, you feel me? If you want it, that's the only way. And I really wanted to quit my job. So everything I was getting from that job, I used to buy equipment and just fund whatever I needed.
At what age did you know you were like, nah, like I'm just going to work this job because I know I can do it? Like how long were you doing it? At what age were you like, this is for me?
Man, as soon as I entered the workforce, I knew I was a little bit different. The job was never that important to me. Like, whatever job I went into, I was able to level up really fast because I just found out everything to know about it, and I did more work than had. Like, I started at UPS, and I remember I was with this one driver, and we used to drop off packages, and my ass would run to each door and drop it off and head back. You know, we made it into a game, which most people, like, when you get jobs, they're just like, they don't really want to be there. Yeah. And it shows and it reflects in that energy. But my thing is, like, if I have to be here, I'm going to go crazy while I'm here, you know, until I'm gone. And every job I went to, I just kind of leveled up and scaled. And then when I got into the aerospace side, it was just so much more range for me to grow, you know, and I just took it on.
But you got into the UPS game a little earlier.
Yeah.
Should have came into it late.
Yeah,
you'd be rich as fuck now.
I was making like $7 an hour when I started.
Man, you missed the boat.
Amazon hiked up all their paychecks now. They're going crazy.
Man, I have a completely selfish question. I'm going to be honest. Completely selfish. Who is an underrated artist from the West Coast right now in the game that you are like, bro, how are people not like going all in on this person?
Shantae.
Why?
Shantae. She's just better than everyone else. Like, she's young and she's just better. Like, her pen, her voice, her level of experience for where she is. It's seldom you find people at 17, 18, 19 who can sing like they've been doing it forever. Like, you know, I've worked with a lot of singers and seen a lot of different singers, and there's like things that they can't do due to their lack of experience, but she's young and she got it. And but she's not even underrated. She just has to do more work, and eventually everyone hears it and sees it. But man, we got a few on the coast that are just exceptional, and it's just they just have to do the work that's necessary for the world to embrace them.
Give a couple more, because I'm curious. I want to hear.
Shantae, Poozie, Jane Hancock, Emma Gerson, Tessie, myself. Who else we got?
I love the self shout out.
Right?
I must admit, I love it.
You know, you gotta get
You
yourself.
gotta throw yourself in there.
Rex Life, Raj, Coney, The Boy. Man, there's tons. There's so many. We be finding so many gems.
Can I throw out two artist names and will you give honest feedback?
Come on.
I want completely honest.
I'm gonna give
All
it.
right. So they run as a pair though. So we can kind of associate them
I already
together.
know who you're saying.
Bino Rideau and Blast. What do you think about those two?
I haven't really got into Bino's catalog. Like, I've seen Bino's name and like heard a few things he's done with Blast, but I haven't got into his art enough for me to have a valid opinion. But Blast, I love Blast. When Blast came out, it was like All the homies was on
For
it, you
sure.
feel me? And it was like, it was partially coming out of COVID. So
Yes.
everybody was like waiting for him to do his first tour and his show. He was one of the artists that came back again where I was like excited to go see. I was like, I can't wait till we could go see him live, you feel me? So I think Blast is really dope, exceptional.
Who was someone that who was a few West Coast inspirations that like made you want to get into music? Because obviously there's some absolute legends from the West. So, like, who were you like really pulling inspiration?
Of course, Pac.
Obviously.
Dr. Dre. When I was a kid, my mom used to always watch the Up in Smoke tour DVD. And I remember being a kid, and I used to just be glued to the screen because they had like full production. It's one of the reasons why I do my concerts the way I do it. But they had like skits and a comedian come out and lowriders, and it was bitches flashing their titties, and it was like it was like an experience you was just immersed in. Snoop, of course, Eminem. You know, Eminem's from Detroit, but he's a West Coast artist to me. You feel me? Because coming up with Dre, 50 Cent. 50 Cent's from here, but he's a West Coast artist. You know, by nature, just through Dre, he was brought in. And then from the region, E40 and Too Short and Turf Talk, Keep the Sneak, 3 Times Crazy, Delinquents, all the home team, Richie Rich.
Man, does West Coast have the most legends in music?
I think it's got to be up close because I mean Atlanta might have
the present day. I guess I'm saying legends is maybe. Like you've been doing it for
it's either New York
30
or LA,
years.
Because I mean New York's got some absolute killers too.
I think in terms of, it depends on how you quantify it. If you global legends, it'll probably go to New York. But the West Coast is a tough one.
It's definitely subjective because it's like they're different styles. So it's like it's
that's what does it, because if you look at like whoever is the biggest, most prized West Coast artist, right? And then you come to the East, and of course Hove usually has that spot. It's not always an equal, thing because of all that Hove has done in terms of contribution beyond rap.
So I want to spin it back into record labels for a second.
This is a great interview.
I appreciate
They're
that.
doing their thing.
Hey, I appreciate that. So I want to spin it back into the record labels. There's this up and coming record label, Could Have Been Records. Have you heard of it?
Yes, of course.
Man, Druski is taking over the game. What do you think he's gonna do with that?
Do you like his transparency where he's like, we're going to show you how we're going to fuck you?
I love it.
You like the transparency?
I love it because that's what they all need to do. Yeah. The thing is, like, they all are like Druski sometimes, but they hide it.
my favorite thing Druski's ever done was Meek Mill came out about he wasn't getting money off his music, like from the platforms.
Right.
And Druski quotes the tweet, he's like, man, come to Could Have Been. We'll show you how we're fucking you.
It's just like, it's really true.
I think what he's doing is really cool, though, for real.
That's definitely funny. I want to spin it a little bit for people that are watching that don't know you specifically and kind of want to get put onto your music. Can you give me 3 of your songs that you think, like, show who you are as an artist, creator? Like, do you have 3 songs in your catalog that you could say, like, these 3 are right now? And most artists are like, I got a bunch unreleased that's more me. But, like, currently, present day, right now, what are 3 songs that someone who's listening could look up and be like, get a real vibe for who you are?
Do That Little Dance, GT Coupe, 2021 Freestyle.
But you had that shit ready.
Yeah.
That was no hesitation. You were thinking about this shit already.
No, the catalog is just extensive.
Also, we were talking to T. Walsh, and he talked about how you like to just put out music.
Yeah.
So we were looking.
You've put out 6 projects.
6 projects this year.
And
you said that, and you might have said to him you wanted to put out 8 in the whole year.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if you're gonna, maybe you will get to that, but like, what's the reasoning behind putting out so much music? Or, like, are you like really against gatekeeping? Or are you like, no, I'm on all these different waves where I'm on this, I want to get it out, on to the next one, out this. Like, how are you feeling?
I just put out music that I love, and I happen to make a lot of music I love. So it's just, for me, it's like, I got these 10 songs done, and I really enjoy them. I want to share them with the world now. There's really no
No
sense of
gatekeeping.
me sitting. Yeah, there's no need. You know, it's going to make me more money out into the world, and it's going to do me more justice out into the world.
It's kind of like the Gucci Mane thing. Like he's been doing that for like 30 years.
Forever.
He's got crazy
and I look at like those early blueprints have always worked, and that's why I am where I am. Like if Lil Wayne didn't have the mixtape Wheezy era where we was getting the droughts and the dedications and the no ceilings back to back to back, he wouldn't be where he is. Like we were able to become a fan of him on a new level every day. If every day you could listen to a different project by artists and get different vibes and energy, you won. Some artists just deprive us so much, and it's
that takes away from greatness, I think.
Yes.
Because if you're gonna like, I think part of being a musician
if you're really
is being
great,
selfless.
if you're really great, you could score more than just 2-3 buckets.
So, man, that just like made me think of this. There's plenty of artists now that are big that haven't put out projects in years.
Mm-hmm.
How much do you think that affects their legacy at the end of the day? For like not giving their fans, that music for 3-4 years.
I don't even think it's about giving the fans that. It's giving yourself that. Like if you spend 5 years working on one thing, you may not be getting better. Sometimes we'll hear an album 5 years later from an artist and it sounds like the last one. And it's because you weren't making enough fucking music. You have to do this often for you to improve. Imagine if Jordan had 5 highlights. He wouldn't be Jordan. And we don't care that you did some shit 5 times. No one cares. You have to do that shit. LeBron just got, acknowledged for scoring how many fucking points? Yeah. That's how many points he had to score for people to be like, this is the greatest. You don't get to do that shit off 10 points. I think it's necessary. And for you to improve, you really have to do it. You're not sharpening your sword if you're not making, getting it done.
How often are you in the studio?
That's a great question. That's where I was going.
I'm not in the studio often, but I'm not like a studio. Like we cook at the B&Bs and we be in the kitchen and wherever I'll be at the crib at home. Yeah, I don't record like every day and make songs every day, but when I do record, I do it in bulk. Like if I'm recording for a few days, I'm making 15, 16, 17 songs.
Right. And so you're doing it more in bulk. Is there a reason, like, obviously just like your lifestyle, is it easier just to bulk the songs out? Because I think like creatively, like when I'm making, like me, like creatively, it's hard for me to bulk content because I'll be like, by the time I made it, I'm like, this episode, video 1 and 10, they're kind of similar. I don't want to put it out. So like as a content creator, I've like found that bulking's not for me.
See, with the content side is different because like we tried to do free game like that one time and make a couple episodes a day, and it was like, nah.
You might change how you feel.
But the music's different
changes.
because there's a different beat and tone and energy to every one. So you making my next song may be completely different from the first, but like with episodes and shit like that, I don't think
that's a very
it's
good
different.
Point. Yeah,
it doesn't get it across the same. But with music, I just make it in bulk because of the pace I move at. Right. Like if you give me a 3-hour block and another artist a 3-hour block will come with a different amount of songs. So I'm not making it in bulk intentionally. It's just I'm finishing them and I want to work on the next thing.
So we're at 137. We ask all of our guests that come in here, what are you curious about that others wouldn't expect? Obviously, you're an artist. You create content. You do a bunch of different things. But someone who follows you, that knows you, what is something that you're curious about that others, they wouldn't expect that you're curious about? Anything. Could be like knitting. Could be like, I'm really curious about the ocean.
I don't know.
I know you're curious about something. And you don't gotta sugarcoat it either. It could be something crazy like I got a conspiracy that the moon landing was fake.
I'd be coochie curious. No, I'm just kidding.
Elaborate on that.
Listen, when you laughed, I was like, oh, this better be funny. You laughing in your head.
No, yeah, I don't know if I don't really spend too much time wondering.
You're just trying to execute shit?
Yeah, I be working.
I feel that.
I respect that.
I feel that. What's on like your timeline? Like, if you like on TikTok, say, I don't even know if you got TikTok. do you, like on your For You page, like what are you seeing on your For You page? Like, is it Gucci? Or are you looking at like more
he's
music?
smirking. There's got to be something.
You know what I mean? 'Cause I mean, you know,
It's a lot of tennis. It'd be a lot of pickleball. It'd be some titties,
really,
of course.
Pickleball, tennis, and titties. That's
Yeah,
a range.
that's a good range. There was
I mean, that's
more.
a
Don't stop
curiosity
me
there.
there, though. I'm not limited. It'd be
That-
rap. It'd be like freestyles and shit. It'd be like painting videos. It's eclectic. It'd be a good mix of stuff.
That's a good mix. It's a good mix. But hey, it's a real pleasure to sit down with
Dude,
you.
this
It's
is
a
awesome.
fun conversation.
We're gonna have to get you back up in New York.
Mutual, for
Bro,
sure.
we're gonna have to get you
We
back
appreciate
up.
it, bro.
Appreciate you.
Come on.
Thank you.
That was great.